and welcome to the Meeple Mentor YouTube channel. I'm Jared, and with me is Holly. And today we're reviewing Planet Unknown. This is the deluxe edition, straight off Kickstarter, with the expansion SuperMoon. It is for 1 to 6 players, and it plays in about an hour and a half, maybe 2, depending. But a lot of this, and the way they can get away with that fast time frame, is a lot of the game is simultaneously done. There is a really cool game mechanism that uses the Lazy Susan in the center of the board, which has 6 groups of 2 like piles of different polyomino pieces.
Mm-hmm. Different shapes,
tile
size numbers.
Yes, different number of squares in each tile and different arrangements. But this thing will, be able to rotate like a Lazy Susan. In fact, in the game, like, this piece is called the Susan. I think there's, it's like a sci-fi theme, so I think it actually is an acronym for something, for the theme of the game, which is we are all basically terraforming planets and kind of mining them for resources and things like that, and sending rovers out there and collecting life pods that have fallen out.
Meteors, destroying meteors.
And collecting meteors. And so it uses a grid that, you see with polyomino games, and you collect these tiles and place them out. And basically when you place them, you get the resource shown on what's on the tile. And usually there's 2 different terrain types shown. And each terrain is associated with a kind of resource. So when that resource is shown, you get to move up a stat track. There's 5 different stat tracks they all do different things. That, one will just be worth points. That's the water. There's one that increases your technology, which slowly uncovers more special abilities, which is really cool and very useful. For example, by default, when placing tiles on your planet board, because you have your own board, you have to build out starting from the outside and then via touching tiles that are out there. But there's a technology you can get pretty early that allows you to place tiles anywhere without relative adjacency, which can be very helpful. But ultimately, you want to really cover up as much of the surface of the planet as possible.
Yeah, you get big points. Well, I mean, any kind of points is big points in this game. So you get big points for completely filling in lines, vertically and horizontally.
Correct. But if a tile comes out with a meteorite symbol on it, then you have to spawn a meteorite token on it. And if you don't clear that meteorite token, then that row or that column won't count for points. So you end up using these rovers. You might get 1, 2, or sometimes 3, depending on the planet board that you use. And you slowly can unlock, these rovers onto your board and move them as part of that stat tracker. Moving the rovers allows you to pick up meteorites, clearing them from the board, and picking up the life pods, which are essentially points. But if those or meteorites are in it, then those rows and columns won't score additional points. There's a lot of ways to score points. Maxing out the tracks scores points. And ultimately, it's a pretty fast-paced tile placement game themed around kind of planets, sci-fi, terraforming things, and
we got sent the deluxe edition with the expansion, the SuperMoon expansion. It's a moon that you put off to the side of your planet, and it has resources it has spaces where you can put your tiles to gather resources, or it comes with the set, I think 2 set meteorites that you have to destroy or collect.
I think the big thing with the supermoons is it starts with meteorites, but at the end, any meteorites left on the moon are negative points.
The really big thing with the moon, though, is the thing that I didn't do, which is the points racker upper, if you will, which is having 1 set of every icon, and you get multiples for every set.
Yes.
You get like 8 points, I think, something
Yes.
like that.
And that's the default SuperMoon. There is a lot of variability on the other side. Everyone can have a unique SuperMoon with different scoring methods, but the base one is if you have a set of all 6 icons showing, then it's 8 points for every complete set shown.
I'm excited to play with the other side and with different planets.
Yes. I did get to play with a few different planets that are alternative to the standard one. I've done it at 6 players, and it didn't take too much longer than a 4-player game. And again, that's because most of this is simultaneous. So as long as no one person is, taking too long deciding where they're going to place their tiles and then actually just moving the tracks, it moves at a pretty brisk pace. As far as the choice of tiles or the simultaneous play goes, whoever is the current captain or leader that turn, they get to position the Lazy Susan in the position that they want. And then whichever, what do they call it? The cargo bay that they're facing, like, because you have your own color token, whatever cargo bay your token's pointing at, you can pick from one of those. And then everyone else has to take from wherever those are being pointed at.
Or is it the expansion that added the expansion adds these
It's like a domino.
Yeah, they're just 2 tile space polyominoes that you can play for resources if you don't want to choose what's there, but you have to play 2, don't you?
Right. So you do get 6 of those to start the game with in the expansion.
And I think it's 1 of each icon, or maybe it's a double of each icon or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's a double of like each terrain type. So there's 1 for each of the 6 terrains. But there is a cool terrain type, which is the solar panels. That one's a little unique because whenever you place a solar panel tile, it's not its own stat. Instead, you look at whatever resources are touching that terrain when you place it. So you can kind of trace back or around wherever that terrain type is touching and boost the stat that is adjacent to it. So that is one that you want to consider, its adjacency to things and keep building that uniformly so you have options depending on the position. Some of the immediate bonuses you might get going up these stat tracks are moving the rover, getting points which are in game, but there's also the wild symbol which boosts a stat track again. So sometimes boosting it and then boosting another one as a free bonus is very useful. You can also add in these event cards, which are like they're drawn in red by whoever the captain is after the captain's chosen the position of the Susan, and you have to execute what it says as much as possible. One thing I like about this mechanism is it changes up a little bit of variety on, things that are happening in this universe to impact your game other than just, the choice of all the players. You can customize and choose how many of the green, yellow, or red events are in that deck of event cards. The green being usually positive things, the yellow being kind of mediocre, and then the red being really negative things that you have to deal with, like losing stats or destroying tiles, things like that. So depending on how friendly or difficult you want to make the game, you can kind of adjust your event deck, which is a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, I like the event deck.
And then there's another track, the civilization track, and as you move up there, you can get 1, 2, 3, and level 4 civilization cards. Sometimes those cards are ongoing benefits, like giving you an ability, or sometimes it's like spent as a one-time use to get something. But what's cool is, when you get your stat up to, let's say, level 1, you get to take the whole deck of the level 1 cards that were kind of pre-made and pick the one that you want. So if you're first to get to any of these levels, you get first pick of everything that's there to potentially get you the best stuff.
Those are pretty cool too. Those actually, there are a few of them that allow you to take the meteorites as points.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and by default, I believe as you collect meteorites, every 3 is like 1 point. But as you collect some of these Civ cards, some of them convert that to either a higher ratio or just like a different point value to make it more more worth it to kind of go after meteorites. Yeah, there's a lot of cool choices to be made in the game, and I think most people can pick it up pretty easily. Like
a lot of variation.
yeah, and it's not complicated, really. Like I mean, the box says ages 10 and up, and I'd say that's probably pretty accurate for the kind of variety you can get for this game. Like it's a lot of fun. And you can play it at a high count without killing the day, Yeah. So, I mean, how many 6-player games can you say play in about 2 hours?
Right.
That feel like this? I think this is a pretty good achievement. And I really do like the expansion. I know she touched on the SuperMoons, and we talked a little bit. It adds a few other components, including some unique corporation boards, which allow for a variety of new abilities and things like that. And new planets. So there's a lot to be a lot of good things to be had in the expansion. And I will say, if you like Planet Unknown, you should probably get the expansion because it's really good and people really like it. It's a lot of fun.
I agree.
Any final thoughts on the game?
The artwork. I always have to say something about the artwork if I thoroughly enjoy it. I love space, so this is a win.
Definite win. Very happy with this game. Really glad to have a copy. This is by Adam's Apple Games, so check it out. And I'm sure you'll be able to find it being played at a convention near you. So pick up a copy, and I recommend it.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for tuning in and watching our review of Planet Unknown. Stick around on the channel to check out more content, including news, podcasts from a while ago, tutorial videos on board games, recommendation videos, and check out the book that I wrote. If you're new to board gaming or you want to introduce, modern board gaming to your friends, check out the dictionary that I published. It's found on both Amazon and TopShelfGamer.com. It's called Push Your Luck, the Board Game Dictionary, with over 800 terms and things that have to do with modern board gaming to, help get you into the hobby and learn more about how these terms are used. So definitely check it out. I'll put a link in the description. But yes, thanks for watching. Do all the YouTube stuff. You know what to do. I've been Jared.
I'm Holly.
See you next time.